spending millions of dollars on beachfront property in California really paid off. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski of WeAreChange.org, and the news is just as crazy as the people in California, especially with the latest efforts trying to rot the minds of children with a shocking announcement by UNICEF, which we are all too familiar about, and even previously confronted the former head of the UN about this very specific issue. So yeah, lots to get into here, especially with all the latest news happening right now, so we're going to just jump right into it, reminding you that the United States is under an oligarchy, not a democracy, since unpopular special interests with a huge amount of money dictate American policies, and rarely ever do popular policies that actually benefit the people get passed by your, quote, elected representatives. An important reminder to give you proper context to understanding just how absolutely crooked this entire system is, which, if you're not aware of, you're living totally underneath a rock. And whether it's Hunter Biden, UFO releases, which we're expected to get in just a few days from now, which we're going to be following very closely, or the latest government health advice, we always have to meet it with top-level scrutiny, criticism, and skepticism. And the mainstream media doesn't do that. They're just a part of this larger system that helps the oligarchs get whatever they want. And they've been doing that more than ever, especially after a sickness that went around the world last year. A sickness that now the Tokyo Olympics is announcing that participants and watchers of cannot cheer, cannot high-five, cannot eat during the proceedings of, because, of health concerns. No, I'm not kidding you. The Olympics Committee released their official guidelines banning all foreign fans, more rules for home fans coming, with even many people and businesses calling for the games to be scrapped entirely. Now, as the Olympics game, society is also as tightly controlled by a lot of these regulations, which we should be asking ourselves, where is the science behind this, especially after many politicians used this entire tragedy for their own power and political benefit. I think it's fair to say that there were a lot of wrong calls made here by the medical professionals that kept flip-flopping, kept building massive mistrust in the entire system by not being able to keep their story straight and continuing to contradict themselves almost routinely. I think it's safe to say for anyone paying attention who's not a brainless, brain-dead, utter buffoon clown zombie that the United States has made a lot of mistakes here, whether on accident or whether on purpose. It's important to understand that they did happen, and now the person responsible for investigating the United States response to this entire situation is no one other than Anthony Fauci's wife. No, I kid you not. The man behind AZT, the man that issued funding for the level 3 Wuhan laboratory to do these dangerous experiments, related sickness, the man who told you not to wear a mask, to wear a mask, to wear to... I could continue on with so many duplicitous policies that this man has issued, and now his wife is going to be the one that's going to be responsible and holding him and the U.S. government accountable for how they handled this entire situation. This is absolutely mind-boggling, especially in the backdrop of many scientists who disagreed with the constant flip-flopping of Dr. Fauci being censored, deleted, obfuscated, and disappeared on the internet. And because of that, and the incredible amounts of censorship that just keep happening every single day to medical professionals, not just us, we, of course, in response to all of this, launched LukeUncensored.com. There will be another jam-packed video coming later on today. Make sure you subscribe to our free email list to be able to get the videos when they come out. Also, yesterday I told you about relocatesafe.com. They are also doing a free webinar tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. If you are looking for permanent residency outside of the United States, this is the webinar for you that I would definitely recommend you check out. All the information, of course, available to you on relocatesafe.com. Now, I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I don't know if this is a sign that I'm becoming a boomer or something, but it definitely seems like there's an entire war on children's innocence happening right now in front of our very eyes, and it's escalating to absolutely disturbing levels, especially when you think about all the information coming out from public schools in relation all the news that we have about Jeffrey Epstein and the way that the U.S. establishment works. Now, we always knew the public education system was a way of indoctrinating children in order to be proper wage slaves, as this was a system established by individuals like David Rockefeller that greatly not only financed but influenced the public school system in order to teach people how to do what they're told and essentially be good factory workers. This is an open secret. If you look into history and the Rockefellers' participation in what we call now this education system, it's evidently clear. And now it's safe to say, after David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger sent all the factory jobs to China, that there's a different kind of indoctrination happening right now that, in my opinion, and according to many other psychologists and scientists, is absolutely not in the benefit of children, as many schools, like in New York City, a lot of this is happening under the disguise of woke ideology that spreads fear, confusion, self-doubt, insecurity, self-hate, destroys race relations, and I would argue now demoralizes children, as we have the latest example of this woke ideology that is being taught to children, specifically in New York City, first graders who are taught about physically pleasing themselves, how to do it, and they instruct their kids that they cannot be hugged without, quote, consent. Yes, they are doing adult education to first graders. Children between the ages of 5 and 7 are being sat down in front of their teachers that is lecturing and talking to them about adult-related content, which we can't even mention here on this YouTube channel because we might get banned or censored for even discussing what small 5 and 7-year-old children are being taught in New York City schools. And a lot of this is bewildering. It's hard to understand the context of this. It's shocking, it's perplexing, and it's insane. One of the lessons instructs children that their parents and grandparents hugging them without getting their consent or permission to do so beforehand is not right. And there's a creepy, disturbing video. We can't even play the video that is being played to small children here. Even though it's somehow on YouTube Kids, we would get in trouble for showing you this video, for even having this discussion, but for some reason this video is still available and being widely distributed amongst the most innocent in our society. To add to this perversion, we had UNICEF, a very highly corrupted organization, recently come out in a report saying that content related to adults reproducing, again, I gotta be careful with the words that I use here because YouTube is trying to punish us in many different ways, but UNICEF released a report saying that adult content is, quote, not always harmful to children. I kid you not. This from an organization that had an entire scandal surrounding it when its employees and volunteers forced themselves in unspeakable ways and abused tens of thousands of children all around the world. Yes, many people don't know this, but UN staff, UNICEF staff have been routinely known for abusing and hurting small children all around the world, especially during larger UN UNICEF operations. And now this very same organization is a part of this larger agenda, this larger programming, trying to take away the innocence from children. Now we know there's many medical studies showing how this adult content does rewire your brain, does hurt children, changing their brain chemistry in ways that cannot be returned to normal, with clear mental, psychological damage to children if they are exposed to this adult content, which according to the United Nations, it's somehow not harmful to them. And again, the report here by UNICEF is mind-boggling, as of course they report that children were happy after viewing adult content. And yeah, so are crackheads after they get their first hit. And when you look at the results of adult content, not just on the effects of children, but the effects on adults, on society by and large, you see an absolutely horrible detrimental effect that, in my opinion, is worth considering and studying further so we could understand the full ramifications and effects of this on society, since of course a lot of adult content is readily available to anyone at any time, especially children. And I definitely think there at least should be a discussion around this, especially with all the predators out there that thrive off of hurting a lot of these children. And again, when I personally confronted the former head of the UN when it came to the UN's practices of having so many predators work for their organization, of having the United Nations hurt so many children, Kofi Annan, the former head of the UN, refused to answer the question, which of course shows how they were ducking and diving the actual issues that should be discussed here, but are never. There's a reason the mainstream media protected and even promoted Jeffrey Epstein for decades. Why people who have very serious allegations against them, like Kevin Spacey, whose accusers mysteriously die, are now coming back to the limelight in Hollywood, being accepted with open arms after, of course, children came out and said that they were hurt by him in unspeakable ways. Kevin Spacey was also a friend of Jeffrey Epstein's. They, of course, all hung out together, which shouldn't surprise anyone. There's a reason individuals like Harvey Weinstein were able to do whatever they did for almost the same exact amount of time. There's a reason the media looks in a different direction when the President of the United States literally says that a small child looks like a 19-year-old. And there's a reason why the federal government is running a massive cover-up to make sure that we never find out the true details of what happened to Jeffrey Epstein and all of the larger players that were involved here that are still free, roaming society, still continuing to hurt an unknown number of children every single day. As of course, we also have the latest information of the correctional officer who got a sweetheart deal of a lifetime recently, who planned, according to sources, to slam the federal prison system surrounding his actions, which led to the demise of Jeffrey Epstein. But he didn't get to do so because the feds pled down with him and gave him community service. He was about to implicate the system, the establishment, until the establishment let him go with just a slap on the wrist. As of course, the show trial of Ghislaine Maxwell continues, a part of a larger cover-up operation that is happening right now, according to my own personal assessment. Now, as we get closer to the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, which was supposed to begin officially now, it has been postponed. I have a feeling that there also will be a plea deal here. We will see if I am correct. But there are a lot of powerful people, a lot of secrets that the establishment does not want you to know, and they will guard those secrets at all costs. And because of that, this is why you can't trust the system. The system is corrupt. As we told you in the beginning, special interests always get their way, while you get left screwed with your children brainwashed to be used and abused by these same special interests that are getting their way through this same entity. And hey, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to believe anything. I'm not going to do anything that the government wants me to do until I get some actual answers, until we find out what actually happened with Jeffrey Epstein. And until we do that, there's absolutely no reason to believe people that cooperate, work with, and actively participate in the hurting of children in unspeakable ways that we can't even mention here on this YouTube channel. So yeah, if you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. It's more imperative than ever. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you watching, sharing, liking, double-clicking this video. Someone randomly messages you. Someone sends you a friend request. You don't know who it is. Send them this video. Let me know what they say in the comment section below. Because you guys do that, I'm still here. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.